Hello there everyone, my name is Nathan Birch. In this video we're going to go through our first assignment for this course. So let me pull this over here and we'll go ahead and do this. Today you'll complete your first assignment. You'll have an opportunity to demonstrate your understanding of the concepts taught in this module. And surely you'll learn a lot as you develop a website of your own. Okay, instructions. Your tasks are as follows. Think of a website you would like to create. I was talking with my wife the other day. We recently got puppies and we were talking about breeding them, and she was like, hey, you should make us a website for us to be able to sell our puppies. And so that is what I'm going to do. Create a file called index.html, which will serve as your home page. So let me come over here. I just opened up a new VS Code window, and what I want to do is actually make a new folder on my computer for this project. Hopefully you guys already have a folder for this class set up. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's see here. I'll go ahead and just do it on my desktop. I don't really use my desktop for much. So I'm going to make a new folder here, and I'm going to call this our HTML class. Say HTML class like that. I'll come in here, I'll make a new folder, maybe for lesson 1. And then in here, I'll make a new folder for my assignment. Okay. And then maybe what I'd want to do is just open up this HTML class folder in VS Code. And so I could hit this open button over here. I could also just drag this over and that'll open it as well. Okay, so I have my HTML class folder open. Lesson 1, and we have my assignment here, okay? And so if I had something else in this folder, like let's say I had class activity 1, we had a bunch of class activities for this lesson, they would all just line up nicely here with all my code, and then with all of that, it'll be a lot easier when I want to write code of my own, okay? So for this assignment, it said to make an index.html file, so I just right-click there, and I'll say index.html. This does have to be saved as an HTML file if I want to do anything useful with it. I'm going to use my exclamation mark hotkey or a little Emmet abbreviation shortcut and hit tab. And I have my my HTML set up here. And then I'll just say puppies for sale. Okay, and I'll save that. And then before I get any further, I want to open this up with Live Server just so that I can see everything that's going on. And you can see I have puppies for sale up here in the tab name, which is coming from this title. And I don't have anything in the body of the document yet. Okay. All right, let's look at the next thing. Format index.html so that it includes a header and a footer. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to make 2 divs. There is a header HTML element, and there is a footer HTML element that I could use. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and just do this first. So let's say I have a header and I want there to be a couple of links there. I might want to say, let's see, maybe I just have some buttons. Okay, so I'll have an HTML button and I'll say search for puppies, and then maybe I'll have a button for account. I'll have an account button. Okay. And then in my footer, maybe I'll just say copyright. Oh, that's not what I want. Oops. I'll say copyright Nathan Birch 2021. Okay, so I'll save that and let's see what this looks like. Okay, so that's just gorgeous, right? I do want to add a little bit of style to this because I want the header to show up at the top and the footer to show up at the bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. So like I said, I don't have these as divs right now. Usually I would. I actually hardly ever use the footer and header elements, but we'll go ahead and use them for now. So to add style inside of the head of my document, I want to put a style element, okay? And in there, I can put any styles that I want to. The first things, I want to apply something to the header, and then I also want to apply something to the footer, okay? And then I also probably want to apply something to the body as well. Okay. Now these will apply to these HTML elements, which are fine because I'm not going to have more than one of any of these. So for the body, I'll just say the width will be 100%. Height can be 100% too. For the header, I'll say the width is going to be 100%. Maybe I'll say the height is going to be like 50 pixels. And then footer, we'll say width is 100%. We'll say height is 50 pixels. And then let's also say, I think it's bottom 0. Let's see if that works, just to try to stick that at the bottom. So let's come over here. So the bottom did not work. Okay, if I right click on one of these, I can hit inspect, and you can see that the header does span the full width of the screen, as does the footer. They're just not quite where I want them to be. Okay, so I'm just going to Google HTML footer at bottom. That sounds right. How to create a fixed footer. That sounds great. Let's try this before we see what it is. So it says the footer is placed at the bottom of the page. If I copy this a bunch of times and paste it a bunch of times, I'm going to hit run. Look at the behavior of this footer. It's just there. Okay, and that's fine. You know, if that's what I wanted. So they have a class footer. Notice that they used a div with a class that they could call anything, but they called it footer. Positions fixed, left 0 or left is 0, bottom 0, width is 100%, and then they also said text align center. So really, this is all we need to get it at the bottom and to stay at the bottom. So let's go ahead and grab that. So footer, width is 100%, we already said that. I can take out that other bottom. Okay, so that position fixed is what's going to make it stick there at the bottom. And so let's see if it worked. Okay, there's our copyright down there. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and do the text align center as well. Text align center. Okay, there. Beautiful footer. Okay. And then for these buttons up in the nav bar, let's go ahead and change those up a little bit as well. What I'm going to do, I also want like a little logo on the left-hand side and then these buttons on the right-hand side. So what I could do is, let's see here. I'm going to make a div. Okay, and I'm just going to move these up into here. Okay, and so this div I want to be on the right side. So I'm just going to say class, and I'll just say flow right. And then in here in the style, I'll use the period for a class, and I'll say float right. And that's what I want to do, float right. Okay, and then I'll have another div here. And this one, I'll say class, float left. And then in here, I'll have some type of logo. For now, I'll just make a span, and I'll say logo. Okay, just so that I can get the spacing right on these. Okay, and here are our buttons floating right, and here's our logo on the left. Okay, so that almost looks really good, except there's not very much space there on that right-hand side. I'm going to hit inspect and try to see why that's not quite where I want it to be. Okay, so if I open this up a little bit more, we can look at each element here. Okay, so I can look at header. It says it's 100%. Float right. Okay, I'm not really sure why it's going off the page here, but we can fix that with either padding or margin. And so what I'm thinking is for this float right, we'll just say margin left. Let's try just like 20 pixels for now. Okay, that did not do anything. Let's try padding left. We'll save that. That also did not do anything. Interesting. Let's go back to margin. And I'm just going to put 200 pixels, and I'm going to say important. That important will make it override anything else that was there. And it's still not wanting to do it. Interesting. It's because of this. I said margin left. not margin right. Let's say margin right, and there it goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and say 20 pixels again. We can take out that important. We'll save that, and that looks quite a bit better. Okay. All right, so we have our header. And we have our footer. Let's come back over to here and let's see what else we gotta do. Between the header and footer, include 3 divs. Inside these divs could be headers, paragraphs, images, whatever you need for the home page of your site. Okay, so there's our header, there's our footer, and I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna make one div that is called page content. And then up in here, I'm going to add a class for that page content. And for that, I'm just going to say width is actually going to be 80%. And then I'll say margin left is 10%. Okay, that'll center it nicely. And then I'll also say text align center. Okay, and then for this page content, let's add a couple of other divs. So I'm going to put 3 more divs, that's fine. Let's see here. Let's say I want this to be a nice big image. So maybe I don't have a div there. Instead, I just have an image. So I'll type in image right there to do an image. And then let's find a nice puppy image. Cute puppies. Let's use a wallpaper so it'll be nice and big. Oh man, look at these puppies. Let's see, I want something horizontal. I'll say landscape. And I'll click on images. Oh, these are great. Look at that, that's perfect. Okay, and it's a good sized image. So I'm just gonna right click on this and hit copy image address. And then over here, for the source of my image, I'll just paste that. And then I'll also put in a class name that says homepage image. Okay, and then up in here, I'll just add another class that says homepage image. And right here, I'll say width is 100%. Whoops. And height is auto. What that'll do is it'll just keep our aspect ratio and make it look good. Okay. Of course, that's looking pretty big. Okay. What I would want to do is actually save this image or whatever image I'm going to use, save it locally so that I could actually change how big it's going to look. But what I'm going to do instead, I'll just get 2 images. That one's good. Okay, I'll copy that image address too. Okay, and then right here, let me paste that just so I don't lose it. And I'll copy that. Okay, homepage image, we're going to say we're only going to take up 45%. Height can be auto, that's fine. And then we'll say margin is going to be 0 pixels. And we're going to have 2 images side by side. 45 plus 45 is 90%. And I want a little bit of space between them. So I'll just say 2.5%. Now what that'll do is that'll put 2.5% on each side of these images. We'll see how that looks when I run this. Okay, those are not showing up side by side. So let's come back over here and let's just Google HTML images side by side. W3 Schools is the best. Those look great. Try it yourself. What they do. So they have them in divs. Interesting. So they set up their divs. They said float left. Width is 33%. A little bit of padding, which is that spacing between them. It actually looks really good. I'm just going to copy that. I'll just change the width to 45%. Okay. Or 50% actually, since they have that padding there. All right, and I'll take that out. And we'll say width is 100%. Okay, and then we'll put each one of these inside of a div. Okay, div class, column. Okay, and let's do that same thing with the next one as well. I'll save that. So each of them have their own column. I'll delete these for now. Okay, and the image, we can take that margin off of it. So the image style, all it has is just saying how big the image is going to be, but we took care of the spacing and the padding with our column class. Let's see what it looks like. Still showing up on top of each other. Let's see if we missed anything. Oh, row. They have a div class row. Display table. That would do it. Okay, so let's copy this row also. And I'm going to put that row right here. And then we'll go ahead and add row to our page content class. Okay, so we can just put both those together right there. Let's see if that worked for us. Nope, still didn't work. What does page content have? All right, let's go ahead and just make a new div. Class, row, and then we'll move both of these columns into there. Okay, we'll take that row off of here. And they're not wanting to line up. Interesting. Yeah, so they have that style width 100% right there. Pretty sure we do too. Yep, for our homepage images. Let's inspect and see if we can see anything. They might just be wrapping because they took up too much space. I can actually edit this right here, which is like 80%. Nope, I'm making them nice and small. There's plenty of space for those, so that's not the issue. Let's look right here. So that's our row class. Then we have column, which takes up 50%. And then that column as well. Let's look back over here, see if we missed anything with our column. It might just be this, which is making those divs not collapse. So I'm going to put that right here and see if that fixes it for us. And it did. Yeah, so this border box sizing will basically tell our whole document that if we want to put things side by side, we can use those styles that we used. And this should work. This should be somewhat responsive. Those aren't going to collapse and get big again and stack on top of each other. We could set that up later on, though, if we wanted to. Okay. For now, I think that looks good, though. Let's go back to our puppy images. And let's grab that one. That looks great. I'll hit copy image address. And we'll go ahead and put that one for our second one. Okay. Yeah, let's look at our web page now. Ooh, that looks awesome. Except the height's different there. Okay. And so that's one of the cases where I'd want to really make sure that my images are the same size if I'm going to be using them for our website. Okay. Let's go ahead and just add one more div down here. We'll add it outside of our row. We'll add this with a header that says the best puppies in the world are for sale. And then let's also add a paragraph. Please see our search page. Okay, we'll save it. And that's what we look like so far. Okay. Let's go ahead and fix the style of this image height real fast. So I'm just going to say HTML image height same, maintain aspect ratio. Right here, how to maintain aspect ratio. So use max width and max height. Huh. Well, let's see what our height is currently. So I'm going to select this one. It looks like it is 373 pixels tall. And so what would happen if on our image, which said max height is 370. Whoops. Pixels. There we go. Okay, and that looks really nice. Okay, All right, so those look good. Let's go back to our instructions and see what else we need. Incorporate styles as your classes so that your HTML looks professional. So that's what we did here. Okay, I could have put all these styles down here, but it really would have made my HTML look ugly. Instead, I just say class here, class, 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 class. Okay, I have classes all over the place. Create another HTML page that your website will need. Include at least 5 HTML elements in the body of this page. Okay, so I'm going to need an account page. So I'm going to go ahead and say new file. I'm going to call this account.html. Exclamation mark tab. I'm going to say account. 5 elements. Let's go. H1 account. Let's put in a list. And then for our list, I'm just going to put, I'll say account details. And then I'm going to take that space out of there. Oops. And then inside of our list item, we'll just say name. Whoops. I'll say li tab. Paste, 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 paste. Name, address, dog preferences, previous transactions. I don't know. I'm just throwing these out. And let's see, or anything else. Phone number, payment information. Okay, we'll save that. And let's come back over here. So if I navigate to account now, it should show up. Here's my stuff. Okay, but I want to be able to click on this button to get there. And so over here, for this button right here, I'm just going to put an A tag around it with an href that says go to account.html. And I'll put the closing A tag on the other side of that button. Okay, so now if I click on any part of this button, it'll take me to that account page. Okay, the one last thing that I want on my account page for now is just a button, maybe up at the top, that says go home. Okay, and so another way that I could do that, I could just make an A tag. Actually, I'm not going to worry about that right now. So let's go ahead and make one, a href.index.html, and I'll move that over here. Okay, and now, let's see, where's our button? Go home. Oh, that's on the index page. Oops. Okay, I'll take that out of there and save it, and I'll put this one right there and save it. Okay, now we have this go home button, and now we can go back and forth between our account and our home page. Okay, sweet. Let's look at our next one. 5 elements. Let's see if we got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we count the LIs, that's a 5th. But I'll go ahead and make a div as well. And I'll give it a class of header. And then I'll move, oops. And then I'll move this A tag up into there. Okay. Now I haven't put any classes in here yet. Okay, I could just make another style tag here and say, oh yeah, my header is going to be, you know, I could use the same styles from the other page or whatever I wanted. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that. Let's see what else. Incorporate styles as classes so that your HTML looks professional. So looking back at this, okay, that doesn't look too bad. For now, I'll go ahead, I will add a little bit of a header. So I'll just say width is 100%, height is 100 pixels, well, I'll say 50 pixels. And I'll say background color is, and let's find a nice background color. Let's go with like a green, nice light green. We'll go with that one. Okay, we'll save that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks okay. Let's see here. We can leave that. We have our button, which is right up against that green, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And so for this button, let's add some style for that. Okay, so I'll say margin, and we'll just say 5 pixels. Okay, that'll put 5 pixels of space around the entire button. Okay, I could also say inside this header, we could say vertical align center. Wait a second. Middle. Okay, and it doesn't look like it wanted to do that. That's okay. Okay, and then let's go ahead and just center the rest of everything. So I'll add one more div, and I'll call this class page content, and I'll move all of this into that page content div. And then for page content, I'll just say that the width is going to be 80% again. Margin left is 10%, and text align is center. Okay, well, I did something kind of funny with my list here. I'm not the biggest fan of that. So maybe I'll just take off that text align center for now, and we'll just leave it like that. Okay. All right. And so I think I'll leave it at that for the styles. Let's go back and look here. Be sure to include links in pages so you can navigate between the two of them. Include a list somewhere, check, check. Include a third HTML page. Include images, check. Move all of your CSS to a separate file. Okay, so I'm going to do a third page really fast, and then we'll move stuff to a separate file. So we need a search page. Okay, so I'm going to make a new file. I'll say search.html, exclamation mark tab, and for the document, we'll say search. And then right here, let's go ahead and make a nice input box with a placeholder that says search for puppies. And let's go ahead and add a class for this. We'll say style, and we'll say, well, we'll just say for our input, we'll say width is 100%. Height is, we'll make it nice and tall, 25 pixels. And then we'll say border radius is 10 pixels. Okay, and take that out of there. I'm going to add an H1 here that says search for puppies. Okay, let's go ahead and link to that from our index.html. So right here, I'll make a new A tag that goes to our search.html, and I'll put the closing tag for that at the other end of there. So now we should be able to click on this and get to our search page. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and add a div for page content. We'll move that over here. We'll save it. And before I copy that class, let's go ahead and just make a new CSS file over here. So I'll just call this style.css. And then I'm just going to grab all of this code and take it out. And I'm going to put it into here. Okay, so I'll save that. Not very much here, but we'll take that out and put it into here as well. I'll just put a comment just so that I know that this came from the account.html. And I'll paste it. And then another one for search.html. Okay, and the only thing we had here was this. We'll take that out. And then at the very top, I'll just put index.html. I don't have to leave these comments. I'm just putting them there now for my own benefit. Okay, now you'll notice that my style's gone on all of these pages. If I hit refresh on this, my style's completely gone. Okay. I can still navigate, but the style is gone. Okay, so all we have to do to get the style back is, instead of having the style tag like this, I just need to say style, or sorry, no, link, and I'm going to select this link CSS one, and style.css, that's what I want. So I'll include that there, and I need to include that line of code on each one of these. So link CSS, good, and whoops. Save that, and then I'll put one in the search as well. Link, CSS, and I'll save it. Okay, so now I should be able to go to each page and see our styles. being used. Okay. Notice that this one, it recentered this because of style that I had in the body of the index.html. And I didn't want this to be centered on the account page. Okay, so I could come back over here to the account page, and under page content, I could make another class for this. Generally, I would probably just make a different style sheet for this page if it was going to be different. And so I'll go ahead and just say account style. And then I'll go ahead and make a new CSS file. It's called accountstyle.css. And then I'll just grab this code. And I'll take it out of my style.css, put it in here, make sure that this is referencing the right CSS file, and then we should be good. Okay. So that looks great. All right. Well, there's my little website. Let me make sure that we got everything. Check, check, and check. Okay. Last thing, let's go ahead and submit this form just so I can walk you guys through how to do this. Yeah, that sounds great. We'll do that. Oh, hang on a sec. That's the wrong URL. There we go. Okay. Leave. All right. That looks better. Okay. I got to zip this up. So I'm going to come over here. Oh, no, not there. I'm going to come over here. And I'm just going to right click on this and hit Reveal in Finder. You can also, if you're on a Windows computer, you can hit Open with File Explorer. And I'm just going to select all this and right click and hit Compress. On a Windows computer, you'd go ahead and do Send to Zip File. All right, so over here, I wonder if I can just drag this. Nope, that did not work. All right, oh, I can drag it here, good. So now I'll just drag it over. Okay, and I'll hit Upload. And I'll say no and no, and I'll hit Submit. And that should be all I have to do. So, if you have any questions while you're working on this, don't hesitate to reach out, but I hope that this video was helpful for you.